I'm also listening to some Louder with Prouder in the background. So if you hear that, well,
the truth
you hear that.
would be, my God, very difficult if we didn't have
Let's
video
go ahead and
of
play
a
this and do some more.
wandering off and not talking to a skydiver who clearly is not talking back. There's the skydiver.
Getting a demonstration.
And he's wandering off it.
Excuse me. I'll probably be cutting down the stream a little bit today because I have some stuff I'm doing later. But I'm here for now.
Let me just
Probably be done at about 9:45 Pacific.
I'm really glad that I've seen Ed to set me straight. Yes.
Thank you.
Whatever the guy's name is, I don't remember, and I don't care to. Here's the next claim that they make. And this is where they're trying to fact-check technicalities. Donald Trump, the Al Capone.
He said he was indicted more than Al Capone. Capone had more.
Okay, here's the truth. Capone was literally indicted more than Donald Trump. Okay, that part is true. But Capone was really only nabbed on tax fraud and for everything that he committed. Donald Trump has been indicted on things that no one has ever been charged with before, and certainly not to this degree. But don't take my word for it. Even Mr. Nipple Barbell himself, former Governor Andrew Cuomo, admitted this very weekend.
In that case, the Attorney General's case in New York, frankly, should have never been brought. And if his name was not Donald Trump, and he wasn't running for president in the former agent in New York, I'm telling you, thank you.
Wow. Probably because those cases have never been brought before. Here's another claim that he makes. Where's the fact-checking? Trump D.C. trial that must not be... I don't know what.
He said he was in Washington the other day. Trials. He was actually there for meetings with congressional Republicans.
Okay, here's the truth. I guess there's no trial going on right now, but I can't imagine that his meeting in D.C. didn't involve discussing cases. And keep in mind, he was charged in D.C. over the 2020 election. The only reason there's no trial scheduled is because the Supreme Court is weighing his presidential immunity. So there's a potential trial in D.C. He met with people in D.C., very likely to discuss this trial, but he's a liar who's unfit for office, and he's so unfit for office that if you vote for him, they'll make sure he's not eligible anyway. Let's go to the next claim about Nancy Pelosi. Sucks that she actually admitted this fact check is bullcrap on video.
He said Nancy Pelosi turned down his offer of 10,000 solar. She never got such an offer and would not have had the power to reject it.
Excuse me.
This one hurts because the truth is, well, let the old hag tell you herself on video.
He clearly didn't know. I didn't want to know. Happened with
Greetings.
House Sergeant of Arms, who reported to Pelosi,
Good day.
repeatedly denied requests that were offered for the National Guard. So many of these, even when I go back through, I'm like, how do they actually think they can get away with calling this a fact check? They are indicting themselves. It's so bad. All right, here's the next claim they make because they really want to memory hold this about January 6th and Donald Trump's records were deleted.
January 6th committee did all records, just did not happen.
Okay, well, just the truth is that the committee did delete some very critical records, and more importantly, they failed to hand over video evidence, for example, of people being invited in on walking tours who weren't even committing vandalism or trespassing. Some of them were actually doing hard time in prison for crimes that were never committed. This was withheld for a very long time till people like us, and then Tucker Carlson brought it forward. So they did delete. They actually deleted some evidence, and they withheld evidence in order to put political prisoners in jail. Jail. Let's go to the next claim that he makes. I don't remember what it is, but I'm sure it's legit.
He said he's the only president who didn't start a war. Jimmy Carter didn't start any war.
Such a weak argument.
Truth. That's kind of true. He didn't start any wars, but tell that to the hostages in Iran. Remember that whole crisis?
I remember him not doing anything.
Yeah. Still has repercussions to this day. The media tries to blame Ronald Reagan for that.
Right.
Whoops. So we didn't have that, and you know what? It's certainly the first time in Americans who were born since 1980 that there haven't been any new conflicts. We'll go through the Iranian hostage crisis, something of note. The next claim from all references available, by the way, at louderwithprouder.com. Description: fact-checking the fact-checkers because nobody else will. Donald Trump in Syria.
He said he finished the war in Syria, no, and got US soldiers out, actually left.
Yeah, so here's the truth. Donald Trump did pull troops out from northeastern Syria after Barack Obama turned that place kind of into a quagmire. I don't know if you remember this. Barack Obama had these red lines that completely failed and he didn't enforce and people didn't respect this. So, Josh, you can probably speak to this. I mean, this happens after you fight wars all the time where you maintain a very small presence. The conflict is over, but it's to just ensure
Hello,
some type
Sarah
of peaceful or
Henderson.
stable transfer to the people who are going to be in charge.
Sorry, I got a frog in my throat.
Said that it took everybody out of Iraq, but the Iranians killed U.S. soldiers this year.
Right.
So, like, yeah, in Iraq. So, like, what are you talking about? Yeah.
Yeah. The war in Iraq is over.
Yeah.
And the majority of the troops are
Elite.
gone.
Yeah.
There.
And I don't think
Back
also...
to Japan still.
Right, yes.
Truman's like, we're gonna leave Japan. All right. Kind of. Not really.
And mostly, when you think about it, don't think about it too much.
Troops in Turkey. All our enemies have troops in there.
At the very least, though, we can fact check that when Donald Trump left northeastern Syria, they didn't get a hold of all of our helicopters, weapons, cash. Don't forget the cash. Don't forget the cash. That was hard to carry.
Still sending it.
Yeah,
Still sending it.
it is kind of crazy. Let's go to the next claim. This one is the dumbest. I don't know how CNN makes this claim with a straight face. Then again, it's CNN. About Syria, Turkey, and Trump's claim, and actually it's a new conflict. I don't know what they're trying to say.
Syria and Turkey have been fighting for 2,000 years. That border happy is less than a century old.
Here's the truth. You're an idiot, sir. I mean, it's not even close. You think fighting started over there recently? And I get what he's trying to say as far as a recent conflict. Are you aware of the Turks and the Ottomans, or the sacking of Constantinople? You've heard of the Crusades? I understand that borders change and countries change, where what we define as a certain country today isn't the same. I mean,
Because of war.
see Palestine, of course you could say the same thing regarding Turkey, same thing with Africa. But the idea that there hasn't been fighting over borders there for thousands of years? Basic history lesson says that CNN thinks all of their viewers, including you, are a moron. So I'm not going to give you an entire lesson for more. Let's start with the truth about the Crusades. I did that video back in, I believe, 2016, 2017. It's a good place to start. Okay, let's go through the next claims, which include like 20, 21, and 23 of their fact checks regarding other nations and insane asylums. Well, let's hear the morons say it.
He said the insane asylums of countries let people come to the U.S. migrants and cannot sustain his claim. And he also said prisoners are coming in from jails in the Congo over the border. His campaign can't substantiate it. Venezuela's crime is down 72%. Immigration. Venezuela's violent deaths are actually down 25%. Mighty reasons.
Well, here's what I love about this next truth, is that actually one of our sources, in fact, is none other than CNN. Let's bring up collage and Venezuela has been emptying jails and violent Venezuelan gangs have been infiltrating the United States. We don't know to what degree, because this administration is not very interested in actually studying that or enforcing our borders. But thank you, CNN, for fact-checking yourself, fact-checking the president. This is just a giant, hairy, testicular ball of embarrassing. Here's another one where they fact-checked Donald Trump on his claim of Obama and deportation.
He said President Obama can deport criminals in Latin American countries.
Okay, here's the truth. You're right. He could. But he chose not to. He had the lowest rate of deportation since Nixon, even though he oversaw a marked change in influx, which of course changed back when Donald Trump became president. So you're right. He took balls. He could have. He just chose not to. I'll let the American people determine which is worse. Let's go through the 24th claim that they make about illegal immigration.
There are 18 million people now entered the border. Experts say why.
Really? Experts? Who are the experts? Here's the truth. The official number that we know of is at least 8 million, but that only represents the southwest border. And of course, there are many, many, many more that we haven't on. So at best, you can say a slight exaggeration. At worst, you can say that CNN has been saying, including this morning, that there is no illegal immigration problem and nothing needs to be done about the border. So plus or minus a couple million. And some of them are Venezuelans who were released from prisons and part of violent gangs. The reason I know it's true is because you said so, CNN.
Check, tweet, fact, true check.
Next one is the claim that Donald Trump makes on taxes, and this is one of those examples of hyperbole, and CNN plays them.
He said Biden's plans would quadruple your taxes. Total fiction.
The truth, Biden's 2025 budget, the gross tax hike is $5.3 trillion more in income tax and corporate tax from 2024 to 2034. Also, if you count inflation as a tax, and most Americans do, overall prices, which this is the invisible tax since Biden's taken office, gas is up 44%, energy overall 43%, food at home 24%, dining out 22%. So these obviously are considered a tax to the American people. I understand their point that what's an extra 5.3 trillion in corporate tax? Actually, it's an industrialized world. Let's go to the next claim regarding the Keystone pipeline.
He said canceling Keystone XL pipeline cost 48,000 jobs. That is
Wildly inflated. Here's the truth. The estimate that we have is anywhere between, it's hard to estimate sometimes, lowest end 16,000, highest end 59,000 construction jobs and $3.1 billion in economic impact. These were lost when Biden canceled the project. These are sourced from third-party sources. These are not bastions of right-wing extremists. It seems to me like President Trump actually kind of split the difference with that 40-something thousand number, because it could be as high as, well, 59,000. Even a low of 16,000, $3.1 billion still seems significant. I don't know at what point here this becomes quite clear that they're not looking out for you, the American people, because they don't want you to be able to vote anyway. That's what former President Joe Biden just said. But let's continue along like the state of our country is not potentially in peril. This is where they make the fact check claim about Donald Trump and inflation. They really, really don't want you to understand inflation.
The total inflation under President Biden is 50%. It's actually 8%.
Truth. No, I guess it's not 40 or 50%.
Well, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it.
Look at real inflation. Again, the CPI that they use, 19%. He said that with a straight face. That's the worst
Gilmore,
in our
46.
lifetime. But keep in mind that CPI, that inflation index, doesn't include gas, energy, or home prices. And like we told you, gas is up 44%, energy overall 43%, food at home 24%, dining out 22%. Don't have the numbers on home costs, but I'm willing to bet that it's pretty high too. So overall impact to Americans as it relates to inflation is certainly very close to 30 to 50%, and you would be hard-pressed to find Americans who would claim otherwise. Let's go. We have two more claims, I believe, to rebut here. The next one is where they kind of want to touch on the trade deficit with China.
He said before he took office, there was 500. There's never been that high. In fact, the record was set under Trump. He said no president has taken in even tariff money from China. It is the Americans who pay those tariffs, and the U.S. has actually had such tariffs on China. 1,700.
So this is one where I ask myself, is he lying or does he not know better? For example, when Donald Trump was president, it was pretty close to that time. Barack Obama was on the way out. And he said, and women still making 77 cents on the dollar. And I went, he doesn't have access to any academic published research paper ever. That's an old talking point. He was lying. He knows that's not true. It's never been true, and it's certainly not true today. Here, when he makes this claim about it being its worst under Donald Trump, does he not know that there's a delayed effect when policies are put into place as it relates to tariffs? Or does he just hope that you don't do the research? Because here's the truth. President Trump took unprecedented actions. And you know this to be true, you just may not have the facts as it relates to the United States and China, including, by the way, 25% the tariff on $200 billion worth of Chinese goods. And the reason that when you look at that deficit was its worst into 2019 is because it had taken a while for that to take effect. And then, of course, COVID hit. By the way, these tariffs were so effective that silently Biden has decided to continue them, just not talk about them, while denigrating Donald Trump for being the first president in our lifetime to point out the paper tiger that is China. Anyone here, this is a question for you, anyone here actually feel like we're in better standing with China when the Democrats are in charge? Genuinely, comment below. Does anyone actually believe that Donald Trump is softer on China than Barack Obama, than George W. Bush? They want you to buy what it is that they're selling. And here's the final one, and they've been working really hard overtime on this. Jon Stewart did the same thing, and it was embarrassing. They try to rebut the idea that Donald Trump said that we're seeing bad crime.
And finally, we're in the worst crime wave of modern history. dramatically plummeted in 2020.
Okay, well, here's the truth. Crime is bad. Okay, worst in ever in history. That's Donald Trump. He'll exaggerate. It's the worst in about 30 years, to be clear. Murder in big cities, higher than pre-COVID levels. They're not just COVID, but higher than pre-COVID levels. And then when they say it's going down, well, here's the reason it's going down. Crime is completely underreported by law enforcement to the FBI because they decided to use a different system of reporting crimes. We went through that in detail. It also looks like crimes are lower because they decided in these cities, places like New York and San Francisco, right, the $995 discount, that they're just not going to prosecute crime. So they can create the appearance of crime actually going down because it skyrocketed for several years, the first 2 years under former Vice President Joe Biden. Now, keep in mind, that gives you some context. They're not prosecuting crimes, sometimes violent crimes, that have been prosecuted really throughout all of modern American history with some variances therein, but they are prosecuting crimes against Donald Trump for which no men have ever been convicted or tried, certainly of a felony, at worst a misdemeanor or a fine in the past.
Fact check.
Crime is up. It's worse. They're trying to tell you it's not as bad because they're not prosecuting crimes, and they've decided to measure crime in a different way now. A way that, by the way, local law enforcement, up to 1/3 of all local law enforcement, cannot use as a method of reporting. All references are available at louderwithcrowder.com. Of course, the conclusion here is that Donald Trump exaggerates crimes. I get that. But he's right. He's absolutely, and he has a leg to stand on. Where's the fact check from CNN or MSNBC on lies coming straight from the White House on social media, which, by the way, is thrust into your timeline, even though if there was a do not want button, you would be clicking it until you got carpal tunnel. They make sure that you see it. Inflation is down. The economy is doing well. I've reduced the deficit. Cities are safer. None of it is true. It's about not applying these standards equally and applying them completely dishonest. And the reason they're applying it with a dishonest approach is because you just heard former Vice President Biden say it. We're going to make very clear that this man will not be allowed. It's not just D.C. It's D.C. New York. It's the entire news, media, entertainment, industrial, big tech complex. You have CNN put this out there. Snopes put it out there. They have to correct it. YouTube, Facebook, Google use these sources as authoritative so that if you speak out against it, they say that you are spreading misinformation in order to try and guarantee that Donald Trump is not president. And that applies to, by the way, any conservative candidates. And if that doesn't work, and it's not, we'll just try and put you behind bars anyway, or charge you for crimes that aren't crimes anyway. By the way, has anyone named the crimes that Donald Trump has actually committed? I still have yet to see them in the comments from someone who has a firm understanding of what they could actually be. And fact-checking the fact-checkers is something we've done for a while. We will be doing it all throughout this election. This is sprint time for us between now and November, and it is for you too. No rest for the weary. I know that right now things look good, but you have to keep your foot on the gas. None of this happens without you. Please do consider supporting. If you want to see more of this, liveupcutter.com/mugclub. It's $89 annually. You get this wonderful hand-etched earthy mug along with every day. You get Alex Jones on Friday. You get a full hour of additional show every single day. You can go mug us for $9 a month, but you don't actually get that mug, and makes it tough for us to continue the undercover investigative journalism. None of it happens without you. We don't have the budget of hundreds of millions of dollars like CNN to suck, but we do have you, and we will continue to do the fact-checking, the fact-checkers. We can stand it out.
Fact-check. Fact-check. News.
Well, this whole thing was a mouthful. My mouth is very dry. I'm doing some spry gum. We're going to continue actually some funny clips from AOC and professional fake fire alarm puller Jamal Brown. They absolutely displaced. What did I say?
You said Brown.
Brown?
Could be racist.
Guess what? I don't give a shit. Fact check me. Fact check me, CNN, and I'll stand by it. And I'll just keep calling him Brown for the rest of my life. Son of a... So click that button if you're watching on Rumble. This is a segment that absolutely should never air on YouTube. According to them, we think it should air everywhere. I want to put it on display in Times Square. If you are watching on YouTube right now, you're going to miss the rest of the show. Piss off.
Not gonna even run the rest of it on Rumble. I thought he was. Alright, well, I guess I'll go to Dan.
It's intentional. These guys are definitely, there's at least probably one deep state plant or two in every one of these groups. Internal docs from the Biden DHS, internal docs from Biden's DHS show that their plans to target Trump's supporters as domestic terrorists. The Brennan Clapper Intel Group discussed how most of the domestic terrorism threat now comes from to the president.
They don't actually need this. I already have one.
Trump. Folks, really powerful. Please, there are people out there. Now you see why there's so much suspicion on what happened on January 6th and elsewhere. You're not crazy. It's not a conspiracy theory. There is actual evidence out there that these people worked in state and are now likely surrogates for them, are looking for ways to infiltrate your groups. Here's another one, House Oversight. They have documents now about taxpayer dollars. We talked about this last week, being used to fund a Get Out the Vote campaign, specifically targeting Democrat communities. Oh, and who did it? Who made the template? Susan Rice, from the Obama regime. I told you this replacement theory thing that they've now got someone on tape talking about, this demographic destiny thing with illegals that they talk about all the time, is real. Was at an event this weekend. They're worried about the cheating. Me too. Me too. I'm worried too. That doesn't mean don't vote. We've got one shot to change this thing. I gotta get to this. It's summer, you know, Mondays in summer. Switched over. 6. We'll work on it. Go here. Thank you very much. I want to address this because this one absolutely. First day show we did. So without relitigating the whole thing, Bill O'Reilly decided to act dumbass, yeah. And or something. Still alive. And did a show where, for some bizarre reason, he decided he would get called a fanatic for talking about now exactly what I just mentioned. The strategic Susan Rice-led plan and Democrat plan to get illegal immigrants to vote and get pipeline. They're doing this for a reason. They know they can't win legitimately with regular old U.S. citizens. The evidence is everywhere. They're trying to funnel illegals into the pipeline. There's a piece of House legislation out there to stop illegals from registering to vote by making them prove their citizenship. How many Democrats signed on to this bill in the chat? Yes, exactly one. So O'Reilly called me and I called fanatic for pointing this out. Granted, folks, I was in a mood on Thursday, so I lit Bill Riley on fire. Yet to hear from Bill. So I brought that up last week. It's important we start to cut the cancers out of our folks. These are people who are time. And think about how much time this weekend was spent. This thing went nuclear. It had to be done. Let it go. Let people in our own party say, "Oh, you're a fanatic if you call out voter fraud." Then they're gonna. That's how voter fraud. However, I really appreciate these guys. You ever see the show on Rumble, The Big Recap? Good guys here. They were really nice. They covered the whole O'Reilly thing. It's all over them. And listen, here's the bottom line. A lot of these old school, swampy, kind of fake Republicans who've leached off you for years, like O'Reilly and others, they don't like it that we're the movement. Yes, we're the movement. We're not asking for your permission anymore. I'm sorry that you find it so threatening that we take it over. Big recap.
Enter a couple things. Yes, I stopped counting. Enter a couple things from.
Stop. Hey!
Number one, absolutely. I had to learn the hard way about this, the truth behind this.
behind the conservative influence. Ladies and gentlemen, let me just be honest with you. I would say probably 70% of them either A, don't give a crap about this cause, they don't give a crap about Trump, movement, or being a conservative, or Jesus, or God is just holding a Bible on their show, looks good for TV.
Yep, they're in it for the money. In it for the money, in it for the clicks.
Guys, I'm not lying. Forget O'Reilly. We got an election coming up. I promise you, I'm not making up. And by the way, it's not everyone. There are a lot of really, really good content creators out there who really.
It's not a joke.
Forget the money. Everybody makes money. I'm a capitalist. You know, the guy was mad at me this weekend on Facebook because he didn't like my sneakers or something. Yeah, whatever. The guy dude was wearing Nikes, but like Nikes. You're telling me about sneakers? It's kind of hilarious. Get the money then. That's not it. There are a lot of people out there who, they're probably really wealthy and they do really care about conservatism. And you know who they are. A lot of people aren't. They're in this only because of them. Only. I'm just trying to, as we get closer to this election, more enough on that. He can kiss my head. I'm just going to tell you, go after me all you want. A lot of people do. I rarely do that. But if you're going to come after me, you better be ready. You're going to come after me for some bullshit, like, oh, you called out voter fraud. Voter fraud isn't real. Fine. Get ready. Because this is the left now. This is the left, and this is what we're fighting. There's no time for halfway crooks, and there's no time for phonies and fakes. Did you see this video of AOC this weekend in the Bronx? This is not the cringiest thing. Speaking of fakes and phonies, we don't only have them on our side. They've got them too. AOC is the fakest phony you have ever seen. Ladies and gentlemen, area AOC wants you to believe
You're a big fat phony.
My wife and my father.
I'm tired of waiting for this elder, so I'm gonna go grab one.
She's not from the Bronx.
A RUNE
She's
character.
not from Jackson Heights, Queens.
See here.
She's from Westchester. Okay? She's from a wealthy, upper middle class enclave. She is not down. She's not one of you. She's a total fake. Unlike AOC, I actually grew up in a middle to lower middle class neighborhood. I'll give you, well, I don't want to give you the address because I'm a little bit, I'll tell you this, it's at 64th Place and Myrtle Avenue. Go look on the corner and check. You'll see a grocery store in the background. Go to whatever maps program. I think it's a sushi place now. Look around. Does that look like an upper class neighborhood to you? That was my house. Well, I was in an apartment. We all slept in one room up there.
Excuse
Mother
me.
and the other. Me and my two brothers. AOC is not down. That's why you get moments like this. But she's trying to pretend she's down, and she's like, well, she's one of you, man. She's look at me, I was a working class. She's not. The fake and a fraud. Check this out. This is classic. Look at this. Try not to throw up. No, look at me. Look at this. Look at it. She's got like the Gilligan's Island cargo shorts on. Look at this. Look at this. Oh my guys. Look at the shorts. Look at this. Just if I can hear a tale. Look at it. Check this out. She wants to be down. Look at me. I'm one of you, man. I'm one of you working class. I had to struggle up in Westchester. Yeah, okay, I'm sure you did. Yeah, great job there.
Well, I guess I actually don't have
That's
any
what we're
elder
dealing
rooms
with, man. And then that Jamal
on
Bowman,
any
high school principal
playing
doesn't know a firearm
characters.
gets up next screaming. At least when I curse, it's real. They're screaming like a man, just get these down. By the way, I know a lot of people have a lot of young fans don't curse like that. Don't curse. It's very bad. It's a bad thing. Don't do it. A lot of young kids. Listen to radio show. This is for adults only. And yeah, a lot of don't whatever. Don't each other. Too big. Want you. I'm like in a box. Folks, this is also what we do. Back to the illegal immigration. Illegal immigrants voting. Illegal immigrants invading our country. That's what's happening. That's what's happening. Numbers, videos, audio, back up what I'm telling you. Have the evidence that is real. Yet the Bill O'Reilly's on our side. Like, it's not happening. They don't want these people to vote. Then why are they letting them in? Why are they letting them in? Here's MSNBC, Simone Sanders and a goofball Michael Steele going back and forth about it. They're talking about a guy who's a suspected murderer. And they're worried about how you call this guy's status in the country. This is what they're worried about, not the fact that someone died. Watch this.
People, young girls who were killed. This is.
I mean, what is the difference between an illegal immigrant who unfortunately engages in that activity?
We don't like that. I want to be clear. We don't use the term illegal.
Yeah, we don't.
Undocumented individuals.
Undocumented individuals.
Folks, they're talking about a suspected murderer. You want to play cutesy time with these people? I'm not interested. By the way, Sean Davis, I love breaking stuff, especially when it's not my story and a friend of mine breaks it. Sean Davis is onto something big here. Remember last week Biden declared this amnesty? Spouse legally but marry an American citizen. Pretty simple to figure out, but i.e. liberals who are dumb, enter the country illegally, you need to die, you never get married. Biden's trying to say, hey, you all get amnesty, upwards of 500,000 to 1 million people. But then you get all kinds of other people out of it. Okay? Really bad idea. Sean Davis picked up on something. Did you guys catch this? Is there a new leaker at the Supreme Court? Don't you find it weird, that the Supreme Court ruled last week in a 6-3 decision that the U.S. is not required to admit immigrant spouses of American citizens in a case involving an MS-13 member whose spouse was a U.S. citizen who demanded legalization? Did someone leak that to the Biden team? You don't find that weird, Sean Davis? Great poll? Folks, the Supreme Court's been taken over by tyrants. Now leaking every decision out in advance. Biden team gets a hold of it. Now all of a sudden they rush out an executive order. Look at this, we got to protect the illegals who are married to American citizens. You think that was an accident? Folks, the whole country's been hijacked right now by tyrants throwing process out the window while telling you you're a bunch of Nazis. And then they'll tell you, by the way, the demographic destiny replacement theory thing is all bullshit. Really? It's amazing, because all we do is play this supercut all the time of Democrats talking about changing the demographics of the country to get illegals to vote in their words. And this out. Project Veritas is briefing. Got this Democrat official on hidden camera. Ladies and gentlemen, you don't think this demographic destiny replacement theory thing is real and you're scared off because the Democrats tell you don't dare talk about it, it's racist. If it's racist, then the Democrats are the biggest racists in the world. Because here they are on hidden camera talking about the thing they talk on not hidden camera, on open camera, which is changing the demographics of the country for electoral. Check this out.
There's a lot of mostly with New Jersey. How people do letting
The big issue for the hell in our region, migration. So we put a lot of money into Central America. 4 million over 4 years. But now migrants are immense. Like Venezuela. Entonces, la cultura es un bueno con spirit.
What else could you possibly need to hear? You really, I know the audio's not great. It's not my team. It's hidden camera. It's always going to be awful. You don't have the camera on. Hey, talking to the microphone. So why the person asked the operative asks the Democrat guy? So why are you guys doing all this, letting all these people so we can change the demographics of the country? Why is us talking about that racist? The answer is, of course it's not. People, they hear the word racist, they run away. So the Democrats don't know to just throw that word out randomly to shut you up. The thing is, no one's
stop! Hey!
We call it racist, but we know it's bullshit. We talk about it 10 more times. This is why they're doing this. Someone should tell Bill O'Reilly. Because they're on our side, too. That's not happening. It is happening. They talk about it all the time. It is happening. It's important. It scares me. I mean, it kind of was bad. It scares me a little bit because in this totalitarian future sitting there right ahead of us. We lose this election. Either FBI, the DHS, secreting people in it, infiltrating Facebook, True Social. Listen, the power of state actors to control us in the future, between AI, facial recognition, drone technology, scares the living out of us. Folks, that sounds like a comment. I've been dealt with this. I've been in a lot of trouble. You don't get them. But it gets to me too. We have about 5 or 10 years to decide to get under us, because this big government in the future, no limits. I think that's hysteria. Mark the date on this show. Mark the time. It'll be 5 or 6 years saying by this election. I want to show you something interesting. What then? This is it's a video of hacking, so I can verify from it. The video is
All right, finally got the Harlequin Crest. Took 27,000 years. I got one.
Loads. It's not easy. So you can see, he sees the drone, sees it. And he realizes this is good.
Yep.
Folks, this is not. This is now. Now these drones are going to be everywhere. They're going to be part of zombie services. Companies, I think, like Uber and Lyft and others realize that logistics and transportation will start. Maybe some traffic surveys or things like that. I'll ask you a question. How long do you think it's going to be before they've got eyes in the sky all over the United States and starts hijacking it? The answer is probably 5 minutes. I'm not suggesting they're going to explode and kill you. That's warfare right now. That's not the future. I'm just suggesting to you that some nefarious actors can. If you're listening to Apple and Spotify, please go out there, watch that video. Folks, how long do you think it's going to be before terrorists speak? And don't give many ideas. You don't think they have this idea? Already talking about it. I wrote about it. My book, The Flight over there, second book, there's a whole chapter on it. I wrote that book 10 years ago. I lived in Maryland. Because this was a huge thing at the White House. Drones in the beginning. I knew this was going to be a disaster. How long do you think it's going to be? Someone sends a group of drones into a heavily crowded area in the United States, and you see exactly. You don't think they're planning this right now? How long do you think it's going to be before government figures out that it's It's happening right now. Let me tell you one more warfare. Everything the United States has done for the last 50 or 60 years to build a hardware-based operation, hardware-based F-35s, F-22s, F-16s, nuclear submarines, aircraft carriers. How long do you think it's going to be before bad actors figure that $2 million in drones, they can send some cargo ship out off the coast of the United States and let 10,000 drones go and cause chaos in New York City?
10,000 drones in the air.
Just now. Guy who's in the security space, aid to them. Yeah, that could happen, so you don't have to. Doing the same thing for you now. The only safe place in the future from these drones is going to be inside. See, that's it. And then when they figure out how to make drones, they already know. They figure out how to make them extra small, the size of a house fly. Inside's not. listen to Eric Prince. If you don't know Eric Prince, Blackwater, he's on with Tucker here. He did an episode on this, and they dove into this drone warfare feature. This is a guy who knows warfare well. I want you to listen to what he has to say on this, folks. Cautionary tale. This future, where we are now, it's going to be really dangerous. Check this out.
Binge juice.
Surveillance and visual recognition that management. See, you're trying to do more essential. You think about how many cameras, data being constantly collected everywhere. Street cameras from door cameras from facial recognition words. See, it's really amazing.
Now TSA is deciding. Take your photograph.
Good day.
Staring to the screen. I said to the guy. Okay, I mean, but like, what is that? Why are they doing that?
Stopped on the chat is a guy B-Wax. That's bullshit. Big drama. B-Wax, you're dead. I'm sorry, bro. You're too dumb to be in the chat. Why do you think the TSA is doing that? Because the government, which loves metadata, already has a likely database of all your future. How long before they go, listen, we think that guy's a domestic terrorist. Let's send out a little mini drone. Let's find out where he is. Oh, boom, look, we just detected and posted an Instagram photo from East Tuna Fish. Here you go. B-Wax, listen, this show's not for you. You're probably not that smart. Seriously, out of the chat, you're making the collective IQ dumber. But you probably believe the government can be trusted with this, with all this technology. Don't tell B-Wax. He says, well, can't this all be hacked by bad actors who can maybe go out? You don't even need to hack it. There's so much stuff online. What do you think about a guy like me? My pictures, you know how many pictures I took this weekend? Probably about 800. Oh, hack the drone. Yeah, none of this is hard. Tucker, that conversation with Tucker, Eric Prince is so right. How long before the government goes to a metadata database? Where is he? Oh, look, there he is. Where is graphic user interface? Nothing can say. Why is there capitalized key? I just realized graphic user. Where is he? Oh, look, there he is. Little housefly drone. Problem. Good luck, buddy. Now, listen. Welcome to the show. Stay here. You know, whatever. We're free speech thing. A few more. By the way, I haven't really got into detail, but so many people showed up in Oklahoma City this weekend. I think every single person at the book signing is going to this event. If you want to buy tickets for me and Tucker Carlson, we will be together. On the live tour in Tulsa, Oklahoma, it is going to be bonkers. Ours is September 11th. You'll see it on his website. Tucker Carlson live with Dan Bongino. You click that red button. What does it say? Get tickets. If you want to go, I will see you there. Probably going to sell out, so get your tickets while you can. He's buying. Tulsa, Oklahoma, September 11th. The website is tuckercarlson.com. tuckercarlson.com. Just go to the live event, get tickets, and see you there. Thank you so much for tolerating. It was a little bit of a look-up. That was my fault.
I tell you what, we might as well keep this stuff going on the other computer, watching stuff while I play video games. Why not? Right? Today.
Just a few days, Donald Trump and Joe Biden will be debating in a CNN-hosted debate. And already many people are saying CNN is great. One of my favorite headlines coming out of the AP is that, can Joe Biden perform? And can Donald Trump be boring? And I'm like, wow, that's a headline. They expect Joe Biden to fail, and they expect Donald Trump to fail. I think that is a reasonable assessment. But now we've got questions about whether or not Joe Biden will be hepped up on loopholes, as we all suspect. And there is some speculation that he's on uppers. And I think that's a fair assessment. I mean, when even the AP is saying, can this guy really perform? They gotta be giving him something, right? Well, here we go, my friends. The story this morning happened this morning. CNN cuts off interview with Trump press secretary for trashing debate moderator. I take issue with that headline. I don't believe that it was trashing the debate moderator. It was pointing out that Jake Tapper, who's going to be my moderator, has compared Trump to Hitler on many occasions. Now, how do you expect that a fair debate if that's the case? Now, look, if someone asked me to moderate a Trump-Biden debate, I think it's fair for me to be like, why? I think Joe Biden's brain don't work. I've insulted him. You gotta get somebody who's like not in the spotlight, who's just kind of like, yeah, you know, let's try and be fair about this. I think it's reasonable to say if I'm biased and I don't like Joe Biden, I'm going to be. Here we go. Wait to see this video. CNN cuts off interview with Trump press secretary for trashing debate moderator. This is Cassie Hunt abruptly ending a live interview with Trump's press secretary Caroline Leavitt on Monday. If the spokesperson questioned a moderator in the debate, Hunt asked Leavitt what to expect from Joe Biden. And in the first live televised presidential debate of 2024, scheduled June 27th, this one's going to be fun. We're doing a watch party, commentary, and laugh riot here at IRL. In reply, Leavitt said, well, first of all, it takes someone 5 minutes to Google Jake Tapper, Donald Trump, to see that Jake Tapper has consistently, and Hunt interrupts. So I'm going to stop this interview if you continue to attack my colleagues. Attack. That's pathetic. That's really sad. CNN is so desperate. When Leavitt responded, I am stating facts your colleagues have stated in the past. Hunt cut her off and ended the interview. Hunt later posted an X, but the exchange said, you come on my show, you respect my colleagues, period. Well, I have the video for you. We got the responses. Jack Visovic tweeted this out. This is the clip from the show. Breaking. CNN host, @Cassie, cuts off Trump spokeswoman, Caroline Leavitt. The second she brings up Jake Tapper spending years comparing Trump to Hitler. This is a preview of how CNN will act during the debate. Oh boy. 44 seconds.
So it takes someone 5 minutes to Google Jake Tapper, Donald Trump, to see that Jake Tapper has consistently presented like President Trump to made on
Ma'am, I'm going to stop this interview if you continue to attack my colleagues. I would like to talk about Joe Biden and Donald Trump, who you work for.
Yes.
If you are here to speak on his behalf,
and I will do that.
Have this conversation.
I am stating facts that your colleagues have seen in the past. Now, after
we're going to come back after the panel. Caroline, thank you very much for your time. You are welcome to come back at any point. She is welcome. Come back and speak about Donald Trump, and Donald Trump will have equal time to Joe Biden. Will join us now at next, later this week in Atlanta for this debate.
Wow, you see how she got all flustered and was like, join us now or later this week. It's kind of wild. Caroline Leavitt didn't do anything. She's like, Jake Tapper called Trump Hitler, and then she's like, if you dare attack my colleagues, I will end this. She's like, I'm just saying, that's it. Now, anyway, Caroline tried to move on. Here's the real issue. You wonder why something like this happens? CNN is terrified. Their ratings are in the gutter. Actually, let's. I haven't done this in a while, but this, we could do this. Ad Week. What do we got here from Ad Week? Friday, June 4th. Ratings. And let's get the Ad Week to try and block it. Alright, well, I can see it right here. Oh my god! Crap, if this Take a look at this. Key demographic viewership for the prime time audience. This is absolutely insane. Ladies and gentlemen, I gotta point this one. Jake Tapper, 74,000. 74,000. Yeah. I didn't realize it was that bad. Look at this, 9 p.m. CNN, 56,000 people. Yo! What? Wow! Timcast IRL, it's like 3.2 million across all our metrics. That's absolutely insane. I don't know about it. Wow, man. It's a different format, to be fair, right? So because we are VOD, video on demand versus live, we're gonna get better players. But we do, wow, we absolutely, we are beating their primetime numbers. So when we're live, I think at night live we do about 300K dominantly key demographic viewers on RL. It's split up over 2 hours. Now, most of it is the first hour and a half because the last half hour is the super chats. So about an hour and a half, getting around 300K. And yeah, I remember when it was, I'd go on CNN's ratings and it would be 500 millions. And to be fair, take a look. Now we can see that it's comparable, right? It's better than this, I think in the long term, because we're on-demand podcast, we're going to do way better. So the source gets 417,000 viewers in all, which means, yeah, that's people age of 55 and old. Our average audience, I think, is like 65. E-demo matters. No, hold on. That's for money. That's for making money, which indicates this is the end. Cable news, Fox News. I mean, Gutfeld, he's getting, what is this, Friday night? 260,000 in the key demo. That's fantastic. It's great. I think it's indicative of, it's 2 million in the older age group. Well, this is for any age. That includes the key demo. This means, 10 more years, these networks will have 0 viewership. They're already going to be struggling. Ads. No disrespect to elderly people, but when you're retired and you're on a budget, you're not spending as much money as someone who's in their 30s. As a family is trying to buy a house, maybe they want to get their windows redone with Renewal by Anderson. They do commercials on Fox all the time, right? But that's mostly going to be targeting older on fixed incomes and budgets. These older people pass on. The average age is 65. We're talking like 15 years. Disrespect for this is healthy. They're not going to be able to sustain these networks on these ridiculous low numbers. I'd be curious about their early morning numbers, but let's just be real. If their prime time shutouts are getting this low, what do you think? What do you think their early morning Monday shows? 1,000? 3,000? Maybe in all age groups, 100,000? That's absolutely nuts. Well, MAGA tears into CNN after Trump press secretary cut off. Everyone knows the meme of Neil Patrick Harris putting his hand on the giant bug from Starship Troopers saying, "It's afraid." Everyone knows. Make America Great Again activists have slammed CNN. Or we get it, but let's see, what do we got here? Rich Zioli, a Philadelphia radio presenter, maybe Trump in the past, said, and that just ruined CNN, throwing Carolyn Levitt off like that. Coward News Network. Asked what to expect of Biden. This is what she mentioned. Is that all they really have to offer? One guy said one thing. Well, okay, we'll take it. I mean, obviously, this is true.
I can't carry it.
I love this episode. Can Biden perform? And can Trump be boring? He questions. High-stakes presidential. This operates under the assumption that Biden can't perform and that Trump can't be boring. I love it. Trump can't be boring. He just can't be. The dude is like, I don't know how to explain Donald Trump. When you get X Factor thing, whatever that is, Trump walks in. Everyone is trying to run up to him and talk to him. It's the weirdest thing. It's the weirdest thing to be. You know, I mentioned this. I went to Mar-a-Lago a month ago or so. I guess
I can't carry
And Trump's there, and I'm like, let Trump do his thing. I'm not one of those guys who's gonna run somebody and be like, try and shake everybody's hand and beg. A lot of people want to meet this man. Walks in the room, and like a magnet, everybody is just being sucked over to him. And he knows it. That's who he is, and they all want to talk to him. Here's the weirdest thing. What can Trump do for you? This is the honest question I have about this gravitas. For what reason do you want Trump to know that, like, you bought a new car? Or that you're working on a new project? Like, what do you think is going to happen? I mean, it's an honest question. When the people rush up to him, and they're like, I just want to let you know I'm a big fan. I work in water desalination in this plant. It's like, great. Awesome, thank you. But they just want Trump to know, they need him to know that they're working on something. Because there's something there. I don't get it. To me, I don't get it. But I guess people just are drawn to this man. It cannot be boring. I mean, he could try to be boring. But I kind of feel like if Trump went on the debate stage and just stood there, made a face, people would be laughing like... I don't know, it doesn't. Here we go. This is what the AP has to say. Rarely, if ever, has one candidate in a presidential debate had so much material to use against another. Republican Donald Trump has been convicted of 34 felony counts with serious charges and 3 other indictments still pending. As President Trump nominated 3 of the justices who voted to overturn Roe v. Wade, creating a backlash even in conservative-led states. And his sweeping second-term plans include promises of retribution against political enemies. Certainly sounds exciting. Yet the big question for President Joe Biden, fairly or not, is whether he has the physical and mental capacity at 81 years old to press the case against Trump. Perhaps nothing matters more. The level of energy and strength the Democratic incumbent projects on stage. Both men have glaring flaws that present their opponent with tremendous opportunity and risk. The huge national audience that will many people tuning into their 2020 rematch for the first time, and who won't see another debate until November, magnifying each success or mistake. I gotta say, it's Thursday, 8 p.m. is gonna be wild. Absolutely. Be fun. We're gonna have to make the popcorn, and I believe we'll be joined by Alex Stein, Primetime Live on Tipcast IRL. That's who we have slated so far. And the rest of the Tipcast crew watch and comment. And Donald Trump. Be fun. Biden and Trump will face off 9 p.m. for 90 minutes inside a CNN studio in Atlanta. Can Biden perform? I'm going to go ahead and say no. But I've always, it's like the 8th time I've chatted about this meme. Somebody tweeted, and they had, okay, so CNN tweeted out, we are going to see, they said, May Thursday, 27th. Someone responded with, you're about to see the Manhattan Project of psychoactive stimulants. And it's like, yes. Whatever the government's been cooking up to keep this guy functioning, he's going to be pepped up on goofballs.
Excuse me.
Biden's seeming low bar for success has been created in part by the 78-year-old Trump and his Republican allies, who have relentlessly mocked the Democratic president for apparent stumbles next to his age for years. Trump's allies have questioned whether Biden can even stay awake and stand up for the entire 90 minutes. Democrats are hopeful Biden can bring the same energy he did at the State of the Union earlier in the year. But a face-off on live television against an opponent who delights in verbal combat is very different from a scripted speech before Congress. Biden's team is aware that he cannot afford to have a bad night with the nation watching. That's why they're going to be cutting off Trump's mic. Those are the rules. They're going to cut his mic. How much do you want to bet they won't do the same thing to Joe Biden? This whole thing is designed to be rigged against Trump. CNN, you know, maybe this. Maybe, I don't think CNN will be fair. Maybe this. CNN's ratings absolutely. See people like Chris Cuomo desperately trying to redeem themselves in external space outside CNN. On Patrick Bet-David and things like that, talking with Dave Rubin. CNN may be so desperate that if we give Trump a fair shot at this, we might actually get some off. Because they could, but now with this Cassie Hunt thing, she should have let Carolyn Levitt say that Tapper called Trump Hitler. And she could have been like, well, I guess people have their opinions. We'll see if Jake can do a fair job. We'll press him to try. That's the appropriate response. No one's falling for them. And here's the thing, they don't want their audience to see someone point out they will not do a good job with this debate, that they have been biased, and that there's reason to suspect this will be illegitimate. I think we can all agree that is very likely. That is very likely CNN will not be fair. But the next big question, outside of whether or not Joe Biden's brain works, is can Trump be boring? They say, having already locked up his face, Trump has an opportunity with persuadable swing voters and moderates who fueled Biden's victory 4 years ago and now express concerns about both candidates. But to win over the so-called double haters, Trump lean into the red meat talking points, right? We talk personal insults and conspiracy theories that typically dominate his public appearances. Instead of more talk of retribution or lies about the U.S. election system, he'll need to offer an optimistic vision for the future and a clear contrast with Biden on traditional kitchen table issues like healthcare and education. He was widely panned for his outbursts in the first 2020 debate with Biden, badgering the then Democratic nominee and repeatedly interrupting him. The second debate took a milder tone and focused on the sharply different governing visions. In short, Trump needs to be somewhat boring on Thursday night. Can he stay disciplined? Some allies are hopeful. History may suggest otherwise. Navigating the criminal records of Trump's extraordinary legal baggage creates opportunity and risk for both candidates on stage. Biden's campaign has signaled an increasing willingness to lean into Trump's criminal record in recent days. But aside from a few jabs, Biden himself has largely distanced himself from Trump's prosecutions to avoid the appearance of political interference. Trump, who has been alleging for years that Biden is responsible for prosecuting him, won't make it easy for the president to toe that line.
That's a really good one,
Recent
actually.
polling shows that about half of U.S. adults approve of Trump's New York conviction. And if voters don't think specific convictions are troublesome, Trump's attempt to conceal an alleged affair with a porn actress is hardly bumper sticker material. Meanwhile, Biden is aware that Trump may go after his son, Hunter, and as the then president did on debate stage 4 years ago. Hunter Biden was recently convicted on 3 felony charges with purchase of a gun, allegedly being addicted to drugs. Trump has also raised questions about Hunter Biden's foreign business dealings when his father was vice president. Muted mics and moderators, oh boy. As is often the case, the moderators and the ground rules will shape the debate's outcome. Get it? Biden and Trump will debate at a CNN studio in Atlanta with no audience. There will be no opening statements. Each candidate's microphone will be muted, except when it's his turn to speak. This is not even a
I might as well
debate.
pick that Hornet plate up and
This
see
one
what's
Tidcast
on it.
IRL does not do video conferencing.
Could be Ethereal 2 socket.
But you do video conferencing. It's hard to rebut and have a hard conversation. So, if someone's talking and they say, like, you want other people to be able to interrupt. And a lot of people are like, no. This is the entire point. Conversations don't work very well. And it's a 2-second delay over Skype or a Zoom, and someone says, here's my opinion. Pause, says, okay, well now here's
Stop!
What you want is for someone to say something. They make their point, and then someone goes, yeah, but hold on, and someone else jumps in. Like, that's, I know it might sound like a cacophony sometimes, but that actually is the raw of the conversation that you want to see. It's true. Why a lot of people don't like them. You can do Zoom and Skype, but it's hard because there's that slight, right? IRL is always better. With them cutting off the mics, I don't see it. I don't see it being as like an actual debate. I just don't see it. But we'll see. Rep. Ronnie Jackson, echoing Trump, cast doubt on Biden's upcoming debates. Jackson, Republican from Texas, who was Trump's White House position until 2018, baselessly suggested that Biden might use performance-enhancing drugs. I love NBC because it's so full of it. Baselessly. I'm gonna let that one stew for a minute. Come on. Even Democrats know this is functioning that way. Okay, let's not play these games, right? Biden likely will be using performance-enhancing drugs. That's just it. Let's take a look. There's still this question. So Trig Live. As he comes says, Biden replacement theory after fever dream. From a few days ago, from Friday. And she mentions, Democrats are still stuck in denial and bargaining. They're offering up speculative, baseless, and in some cases, delusional hypotheticals to soothe their anxious minds. Talk of replacing Biden, someone like Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer, California Governor Gavin Newsom, started way back in 2022. I don't know what happens. I don't know that they replaced Joe Biden, but a lot of people think this is it. This is the moment that they're going to have to, it's make or break. If Biden can't get the job done on stage, he's done. He will be replaced. Interestingly, we've got this, the latest polls. RCP still has Trump up 0.9, so he's improved by 0.1. And then we have this from 538, actually showing Biden taking the lead with 0.3 up. So, hard to know for sure. I don't know that I trust 538. There's some polls they don't use that RCP does. But in their simulation, we can expect to happen. It's favored to win 2024 presidential election. Goes back and forth. Right now, they're saying there's one tie. There's 3 instances. 3 instances where there's a tie. Biden wins 50. Trump wins 49. I don't know if you can trust 538, but we can see. Meantime, if this is how CNN approaches this, they're going to be shutting off microphones because they don't want people to hear the truth. That their network is
told you, 51-49. It's always 51-49.
Hitler.
Doesn't matter what happens. It's 51-49.
How many of you are actually confident? I wonder. Alright, well, we'll see. Next segment's coming up at 1 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out.
Here. Alright, I'll go with that.
A number of months ago during Lent, we did a series, and the series was based on the football team. Probably you know this already. Which is like his story of being a Catholic priest who had been giving a Jesuit missionary to Russia, was captured in Russia, was interrogated, so all these things. But one of the things is people surrender. And so the reason I'm bringing it up now here in the summer is like so many months after Lent is over, is because a lot of people journey without their altar. They're like, this is great. I love this. I love the idea of surrender. I have no idea how to do it. I think it's probably a lot of them, right? This of like, oh no, yeah, it's great. I want to be a saint like Bartol, or I want to be a saint like all the other saints. And one of the commonalities, one of the common factors, the common denominator, thanks, all of these things is surrender. The big question is, how do you do that? In fact, if you look at this, reading Job, question, here's Job, the righteous man in Scripture, right? The righteous man in the Old Testament. How does Job surrender? Reading the apostles in the boat today. How did they, Jesus told them, get in the boat. They got in the boat, went to a storm. How did they surrender? We have to, right off the bat, right out of the gate, you have to remember that surrender is not the same thing as giving up. So one of my least favorite countries, not a lot of least. I do like country. Country's great. One of my least favorite country songs is by a wonderful artist. Her name is Carrie Underwood. Everyone loves Carrie Underwood. My niece loves Carrie Underwood. That's why I hesitate to even say this. But Carrie Underwood has this song that is in her early career. Talking about this, driving with baby in the back. Driving to her mom and dad's house on Christmas Eve. Hits some, you know the song? So she hits some ice and starts spinning around. The car starts spinning. So then the next line is, what's she do? She takes her hands off of the wheel, throws them in the air, and says, Jesus, take the wheel. It's so annoying. Because that's what you think, like, and that's the whole song. Yeah, no, that's great. What a great prayer, Jesus, take the wheel. Like, no. You guys, that's not a good way to drive. Not a good way to pray. So a better way to do this is, probably know the story of Captain Sully. Landed the plane in the Hudson. So Captain Sully, right? He was a man of deep faith, man of prayer. At one point, after he had landed the plane in the Hudson, taken hundreds of lives, they asked him, like, what did you just do? How did you rely on your faith to, like, land this plane in the Hudson River and save these lives? And he said, okay, 3 things happen. Number 1, I realized something. Number 2, I prayed to the Lord, God help me. Number 3, I got to work. That's surrender. You have to understand this. I realized something's wrong. I said a prayer. And then I got to work. Surrender is not giving up. Surrender is something different. It is not taking your hands off the wheel and saying, Jesus, you drive my car. It is giving access. Surrender is not giving up. Surrender is giving access. So how do I know that I'm giving God access? How do I surrender? So the three couple things.
You can't do that if you're not doing anything.
Surrender is not a one-time. Surrender is not a set it and forget it. There's no such thing as proper Christianity. Like where you're just gonna again set it and forget it, just let it. Surrender is like balance. So everyone can talk about, I want work-life balance, right? I want balance in my studies. Our students like, I want balance in my studies, my social life, my sports, all these kind of things. You never have balance. Really, we have to understand. No one has balance. Even the people who have balance, they don't have balance. Balance. Very different than balance. The balance we imagine is like, okay, you're on one foot, just like, boom, done. I got this position. Now I'm just on one foot, I'm balanced. If you've ever gone on one foot, you're never balanced. You're constantly balancing. So you're constantly making these little adjustments. Sometimes something big comes along, you have to make a big adjustment. But no one's ever balanced. Always balanced. And when it comes to surrender, no one's ever just, oh, surrender.
Process.
It's a matter of I'm constantly surrendering. Why?
Yes.
Life keeps happening to us. As life keeps happening to us, like, oh, there's another asking me this other thing, asking me to adjust. So if you want to say like, no, I'm surrendered, never be surrendered. That's good news. Why? Because it means that you're still alive. I guess there's one time to be surrendered. That's in heaven. If you're surrendering, then you're still alive. That means life's still coming at you. That means choices to make. That means you still have the opportunity to say, God, you can have it. If surrender is not giving up, surrender is giving. And God, you can have this. So, number one, an action is going to be ongoing. Number two, how do I know if I'm surrendered? The opposite of surrender. Are you doing that? But with the opposite of surrender, give two things.
My will, but your will be done.
Opposite of surrender is rebellion or resentment. So you can ask, okay, am I surrendered? Well, question, are you in rebellion? Or are you resenting? Now, sometimes rebellion is really, really open, right? Sometimes rebellion is that shaking the fist at the Lord and say, I defy you, God. Sometimes that's what rebellion can look like. But I would say rebellion, the kind of rebellion you have to be on guard.
Good day.
The more subtle kind of rebellion. There's the kind of rebellion that, no, I'm going to reject God's word, reject the church. How about this? How about the rebellion of God says, can I do anything? That's rebellion. Procrastination, you guys, is not a sin. Might. God says, do this. Anything else other than that, that's rebellion. God says, here's the next step I want you to take. And I want to take another step in it. That's rebellion. That does something to our hearts. That kind of posture rebellion is just like, and not even raising the fist. And I defy you. It does something to our hearts. You know the book of Exodus. You know the story. The God sends Moses to Pharaoh. Tell Pharaoh, let my people go so they can. What happens? Pharaoh's heart gets hardened. Pharaoh knows this is won't work. All this with you. Look at Pharaoh and think, that's ridiculous. That's the dumbest thing in the world. All these plagues, and Pharaoh's like, nope, I'm still not going. After the first plague, I'd be like,
I'm not going
to go. What happened? It says that God hardened Pharaoh's heart. So we have to understand, because that's not the same thing as God took away Pharaoh's free will. Pharaoh always had it. Pharaoh allowed his heart, because Pharaoh chose to ignore the truth. God said, do this then. People agree. He did anything else. God was asking. That's what hurt. God's not responsible for Pharaoh's heart anymore than that's it. The analogy. Pharaoh's good. But his heart and our hearts are either made of two. What if two something? Our hearts are either made of clay. God is like the sun. When God is present and he tells us what he wants, our hearts become hardened. Not because the sun's bad, but because I've chosen. When I ignore what God asks me to do, I've chosen not my heart. Or our hearts.
Yes.
God's presence is there. It's like the sun softens them, looks the way. The big question is this: by ignoring God's voice is such a rebellion. So that my heart has been hardened. And that can be us. When I don't want to pay attention, God is asking me. I know when it's, where it is that I know the church is teaching me. I know the church teaches X, but I'm going to live as if God is never. That's living it. I'm going to live as if God has never said it. That's living it. And again, it can be so subtle that it just looks like this. It looks like this. It looks like this right now is when I thought about God. That's actually living in rebellion. Living as if I'm hiding from the Lord. That is actually, or even this. I do it over it. I'm hiding the thoughts of my heart. I'm hiding the desires of my heart. I'm hiding what I actually want. I'm hiding myself. Because we can actually pray on a regular basis, pray every single day. But if I'm actually not revealing to the Lord my thoughts, my feelings, my desires, I'm not actually revealing to God my wounds, I might actually be praying in a spirit of rebellion. And then this is, again, Pharaoh, right, who hardened his heart. Here's two other characters. Here's King Saul, you know. You're getting Judas in the New Testament. Both of these men, right? King Saul, yet God very clearly said, through the prophet Samuel, do this thing. Saul didn't do that thing. And he knew he didn't do the thing. He felt bad about the thing because he was going to lose the kingship. Judas, not called by Jesus to betray him, was not a call that God had asked him to. And then afterwards, what happened? He dealt with that. What's the one thing that both King Saul and Judas failed to do? They didn't fail to feel bad. They felt really bad. They failed to do. They failed to surrender. Meaning, they failed to come before God once again. They, God, my heart is broken. I'm sorry. How often we come to prayer, talk to God about everything but pain in our heart. We talk to God about everything except we didn't do God. Because Job didn't do that. Job didn't hide his frustration. Job didn't. When you say, "Just the day I was born," you're not holding anything back from the Lord. I mean, when you say, "Would it have been better for me if I never seen the light of day," you're not holding much back from the Lord. I can't even get enough saliva to spit. This is how bad I'm feeling. This is how horrible this life is. Like, you're being pretty honest. You're being pretty frank. That's one of the great things is that what you have to ask is, are there any thoughts, feelings, emotions, or hate that is not allowing access? If that's the case, I'm not surrendered. If that's the case, it can be that rebellion. It also can be resentment. Right? It's all subtle, right? Rebellion can be subtle. Resentment can be even. Resentment is this. It's like, okay, God, no, fine. I'll do what you want. Don't expect me to like it. God, yeah, I am serving you, Lord. I am going to serve you. I'm doing exactly what you want me to do. I refuse to enjoy. I know a lot. I know a lot. I actually, I found this in my heart within the last year. Actually, almost a year ago. I was, so here's what happened on campus. I finished my 19th year on our campus just this last spring semester. Awesome, praise the Lord, so good. But for those 19 years, I've been in this little garage. We're in a garage right now. As a chapel, our Lord is here. He's present in my garage. But we haven't been able to get any bigger than this garage. There's been no stand on the campus. Has been very to grow. And what happened was, praise the Lord, 2 years ago, we were able to close by the entire block that we're on. And this door opened up that made what was previously impossible, made it possible that here we are. We have this little house, this little garage. There's no place for you guys. We're missionaries on this. And what they've done with just reaching so many students, we have so many students every single day come to this chapel, to come to the garage, in the holy hour, the holy half hour, they come to mass, but there's no room for them. The bishop said, okay, listen, buy this land, we bought the land. They paid Father Mike. Now your new job is, you're going to keep being the chaplain of the university. And you're also going to raise a bunch of money. No, you're going to try to raise a bunch of money. And then you have no experience in fundraising, and you have no experience in like design, you have no experience in church architecture, you have no experience like other than just doing this, living in a garage. It's your job to do all this stuff. And so it's clear that God has asked me to do this because Bishop's asked me to do this. So I'm like, no problem. Okay, Bishop, yes. I promised the Bishop do whatever you ask me to do. And promise God will do whatever you ask me to do. But I'll tell you this: if you were to ask me, hey, Father Mike, how's it going? How's that fundraising?
Great.
Are you traveling in this weekend? How's the travels go? Like, you know, oh my gosh, you guys, I could talk your ear off about how much I'm like, I don't want to do this. And I was convicted by this. I was convinced that I'm doing God's will. God has asked me to do this. Oh, yes, Lord. You were to ask me, how am I doing it? I became resentful. Now, I believe this is absolutely necessary. But before I put my whole heart into it, no, my heart belongs to them. I have to leave them every time I go try to raise money. I don't like them. Last August, reading second readings in 2 Corinthians, a little bit later in 2 Corinthians, and St. Paul is writing to people who are like me. Write to people who are, oh God, I'm doing what you want. You're going to do it in a different way than he wants. He says this, he said, I thought it was necessary to urge the brothers to go on ahead of you, arrange in advance the gift you promised. Do that your gift you give be ready as a work, not as an extraction, not as an exaction. I want to look at you. I wanted your gift to be as I want your gift to be willing, not an exaction. This isn't a penalty. You're not being punished when you're asked to give. I was like, I feel like punishment being asked to give. He goes on to say, the point is this. Whoever sows sparingly, reaps sparingly. Now here's how I've been living. This is maybe you too. Like, oh, I'll sow. God, you told me to sow. Okay. Here's a seed. Here's 2 seeds. Here's 3 seeds. Who sows sparingly will reap sparingly. Whoever sows bountifully, bountifully. And this is the last sentence. Like, oh, okay, God, I get it. Each one must give as he's decided in his heart, not reluctantly, under compulsion. God loves it. Must give as he's decided in his heart, not reluctantly or under compulsion. God loves. I was doing it, not with a cheerful heart. I had a resentful. That's the problem. What is surrender? Surrender is only what God wants.
What is love?
Because
Baby, don't hurt me.
And also as God. How does he say? That's true. I did it with the spirit of light. And we live without his. Now, remember, God has access to your heart, right? So God gets to know your thoughts, feelings, desires. God gets to know. God gets to know if you're like, oh, I'd rather be doing something else. I mean, even Jesus approached his Father with honesty. Job approaches God with complete honesty. The apostles, Lord, save us. That's honest. That's an honest prayer. Here's the problem. The reality. Don't complain with you. Often, being behind our the apostles, they weren't trapped by their complaint. Know anyone who's trapped by complaint? I mean, if you know anyone who is defined by complaint, I think it happens a lot. I think it happens a lot for givers.
Simon Peter cast his net into the water once more for Jesus. Got that big old pile of fish afterwards. He said, we've been fishing all night, but at your request, I'll do it again. He was complaining, but he did it anyway.
Even though they love their job, which is honest, I used to just in persons.
He's like, all right.
Love their job, that they're to serve. We find themselves together again, so they tell me, just complain. Realize this can happen even with people who want to give, even with people who want to live for life. Want in this path, and come to the time that like you might have relationships with that your relationship is based on the fact that you like how do we escape resentment? How do we escape complaint? Through death. How do you get surrendered? The reality is,
we're always dealing with it.
St. Paul makes it really clear. We're convinced. One died for all the dying. Therefore, must live no longer. fear sucks. Like, how in the world, like, with that spirit of rebellion and the spirit of complaint, how do I actually live the spirit of sort of realize that person doesn't care anymore about their will. That person doesn't care anymore. My life is actually my life. My life. This is one of these key things. These key. Hold on to. Like, if you're a Christian, your life is no longer your life. I'm a Christian. Really, if you want to no longer my life, I no longer do. It's been given me. How do we get this? This is the last thing. How do I start that? How do I walk into this? Well, there was a man way back in the day. It was Saint Ignatius Loyola. Saint had a strong will. He was a saint. He had vision for his life. He was a saint. He had a very big plan. Then he encountered Jesus. Realized, Lord, I want to surrender everything. I've got this rebellion. I've got this resentment. I've got this complaint. I want it to be yours. He came up with this prayer, and I want to invite you to pray this prayer. This is a prayer that's worth praying every morning and every night. That's why? Because we have a spirit of rebellion. A spirit of complaint that can define us. We can have a spirit of resentment that can have a hold on us. This prayer just is a prayer of letting, but it's a prayer of death. It literally is. It's a prayer that basically says, Lord God, whatever is in me, that's still me. Whatever is in me that I'm holding on to it, I let it define me and trap me and hold on to me, or let it die. The prayer goes like this. Take, Lord, and receive all my liberty, all my memory, take my understanding and my entire life. Whatever I have or hold, you've given me, I restore it all to you. Render it holy to be covered by you. Give me only your love. I'm reaching out. Ask for nothing more. Our prayer. Our prayer every day, and every week. How do I know? Do I know I'm not the guy that never played for? I died. I'm willing to pray that prayer. Take, O Lord, leave all my liberty, memory, standing, entire world. Whatever I have or hold, given me. I restore it all to you and render it holy, governed by your will. And only your love and your
Stay a while and listen.
ask for it.
Yes.
Amen.
The music that's playing right now makes me think of First Light. That's why I love it. More meaning than people realize. Like, you don't see any other, alien species out there, or any signals from them or anything, and we've been searching for quite some time now. Because they haven't been saved yet. Because we are the first. And we gotta survive. And when we do, we are first light. All life throughout the entirety of existence. That is why Jesus is so focused on us, right here, right now. Planet Zero, as Shinedown says. Ground Zero. Anyways, I'm off my pedestal. Just wanted to say that. Where it all starts, right here, guys. Your lives matter more than you could ever know. Let God know. God loves you. right here, right now, right here, right now. Better stop that or I'm gonna get copyright infringed. I always say that when I do a very bad rendition of a song. Why? Because I'm a goober. I love classic dad jokes, even though I'm not a earthly dad. Crunchy. Ah, leave that. Two soccer helms, but easy to come by.
Good day. Good day.
You know when you've absorbed a lesson, to some degree or another, when you begin to churn out your own critique of it, critical thinking of it. Oh, having heard what Father Mike just said there, it had an impact on me. I started thinking about it, and I started speaking of it. Therefore, it was worth listening to. Always is. Father Mike never gives me any. I'm not happy to hear. Well, let's say that it isn't worthwhile. I might not like it in a moment. He was talking about resentment, rebellion, but always valuable, always useful. Remember that there is virtue in repetition, everybody. Only one of you. There's 8 billion human beings on it. Right. Go ahead and clean up and that'll be done for today.
Good to see you. Hello.
Okie dokie, guys. I got stuffs to do, so I'm getting off a little early today, but it's been a pleasure having you, and as always, it's been real, it's been fun, it's been real fun. I'll see you later. Deuces.